who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Hello and good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, August 6th, and this is episode 17, where we are going to be doing some Disney news, not Disneyland news. But also our main topic is going to be discussion of The Lion King, past, present, and future, and that is going to also include the latest movie trailer that was released for Mufasa, The Lion King. Now, if you guys are watching and you're noticing that it's a little slim pickings in this studio today, it's because my two co-hosts are not able to join. My lovely wife, Lisa, unfortunately caught a cold. So it's either she comes on and is mute the entire time, or she just skips out. So she chose the latter, and I don't blame her because I don't think she would want to be coughing the entire time, and I don't think you guys want to hear that either. And my other co-host, Mimi, she had work conflicts. So I'm going solo. This is my very first solo show. I'm a little nervous, I gotta say, but I'm hoping that I can actually have enough things to talk about, and I got a lot of stuff on my list. But in the meantime, we're going to start with a recap, like we always do, of the prior show. Episode 16 had my good buddy Chad Fry on it, and Chad, if you guys didn't hear or watch the show, is a Disney illustrator and narrator, and he was able to tell us all about his upbringing and his career, and his work with Disney and beyond. Just a lot of fun conversations and stories to tell. And if you guys actually want to recap it, the episodes are still up live for everybody. Not up live, just the recordings are up. And you can listen to them either on the usual Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or you could even watch them on the Facebook or YouTube channels for Main Gate Magic. If you want to know more about Chad, he is at chadfrye.com. That's CHADFRYE.com. I see we have one person in the audience today, and that's Veronica, coming in to support for a few minutes. I'm still at work, break a leg. Thanks, Veronica. I appreciate any help I can get. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just get right into the news. Let's go ahead and run the clip.
It's time for Main Gate Magic News.
That's right, it's time for Main Gate Magic News, and first on the list is something that I'm actually very excited about. I just wish I had an opportunity to go visit it. The Haunted Mansion is finally open, and it's open, the ride is open, it's got the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay on it, and it's still virtual queue only. There's no standby queue, there's no lightning lane, so if you guys are planning a trip to the park, or you're going tomorrow morning or whatever, just be aware that if you want to ride the Haunted Mansion, you are going to have to wait in the virtual queue first thing in the morning. I forget the times, but they have one usually in the morning and in the afternoon. And once those queues filled up, you're pretty much SOL for the day, unfortunately. So make sure that you guys actually have those apps handy and ready and stand at rope drop with everybody else waiting to get in to get your queue for the day. Something I didn't realize, but the Haunted Mansion is actually turning 55 years old on August 9th. So let's give a little happy birthday for the Haunted Mansion. Found this one online. I kind of like it. Happy birthday, Haunted Mansion. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! Construction is still happening, though. They've only got a portion of the queue open in front of the mansion. All the stuff that's on the side or in the back, where you used to have to do the zigzaggy pattern, the switchbacks, I think is what they officially call them, still under construction. I don't know when that's actually going to be reopened. I had originally heard August 23rd, because that's the original date that the Haunted Mansion was supposed to open, but they did it a lot earlier. So if you guys are going there hoping to see all of the construction that's been done, don't expect that yet, because the walls are still up and they're still doing stuff behind the scenes. Speaking of birthdays, the ride It's a Small World at Disneyland is celebrating its 60 years. And I did not realize this because even though... and first we gotta, of course, let's do it again. Happy birthday. I gotta fill the time somehow, guys. Come on, give me a break. It's a small world. Happy birthday. You can make it work for anything. All right, thanks for putting up with me, guys. Anyway, I was saying that I was surprised because even though the ride actually opened up in 1966, and if you do the math, that does not equal 60 years, the ride actually debuted at the 1964 World's Fair, the New York World's Fair. So technically, if you think about it, when the premiere for that happened, up to 2024, we are now at 60 years. So we're just going to say it's the birthday. I think I saw other people saying the same thing online, so I figured, what the heck, I'll go ahead and throw it in the news. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, still waiting. Enough said. I got nothing else on that, guys. I'm so sorry. It's still under construction. The Magic Kingdom still got theirs up and running, as far as I know. It's still working fine, but Disneyland continues to work it in the background, and the Critter Country paths are still blocked off, as well as the entrance to the Hungry Bear, which I think, if you guys heard 2 episodes ago, I think that's when we talked about it. It is actually being rethemed to the Hungry Bear Barbecue Restaurant. Hungry Bear Barbecue, something like that. Hungry Bear Barbecue. It's going to be based off of the theme for the Country Bear Jamboree. And for those who have never been to Disneyland before, or if you've only been to Disneyland since after it closed, it used to be a show within Critter Country and is no longer there. There are remnants of it there at the Winnie the Pooh ride, and I think even some at the Hungry Bear, but the ride's no longer there. The attraction, I should say, because it was a show with singing bears and it was a lot of fun, but it's gone. Anyway, I digress. D23, August 9th through the 11th at Anaheim Convention Center. Our own co-host, Miss Mimi, will actually be attending, and she will be doing her usual, I think she's doing Jane cosplay, and maybe even Wendy as well. But I haven't really heard the details. The show that we're actually going to be doing on the 20th, which is in 2 weeks, is going to be a D23 highlight and trip report. So Mimi will be heading that up. It's not going to be talking about everything that they announced at D23. We will cover some of that. But it'll be more of what she experienced at D23 as a guest, or as a attendee, I should say. I have never been to one myself before. I really wanted to go to one. I would love to be able to have a booth there someday, or even a booth with Adventurous Ideas someday. If you guys heard me talk about that before, it might happen. It might happen someday, but we'll have to see. Patricia's online. Hi, Patricia. How you doing? Hope you're getting home safe. Sorry you couldn't actually co-host. I tried looping in several people to co-host today, a couple of friends here and there. I probably didn't think of everybody, so if I didn't reach out to you, please don't be offended. I actually kind of wanted to try this solo anyway, just to see if I could get it done. But with all that in mind, keep in mind, guys, that this might actually be a little bit of a shorter show because I don't have people to bounce off of. With the D23 news, they have announced some new merchandise that's going to be available. I think it's going to be available in the park, but they will probably also be selling it at the convention itself. And I actually have a few pictures of the items that they have shown. So one of the first things they have is this Madame Leota Raven. It's a little shoulder plushie that attaches underneath your shirt with a magnet. And I've seen plenty of these before. I think they've got a Groot one. They have a Porg one over at Galaxy's Edge. And they're cute. I like them. I think there's even a Salacious Crumb, which I've actually thought about getting. It's the little guy from Return of the Jedi that goes, ah! And This one actually looks really cool because it's more practical. I think you can actually use it for like Halloween or something like that. It's not just something you wear around Disneyland, but you could make it part of your costume or something. I actually thought it was really cool. Um, One of the other things that they announced is these hero and villain vinyl figurines, I guess we'll call them. If you guys haven't heard, the Disney Destiny is the newest cruise ship and has a theme of heroes and villains, and there are 5 each that they're going to be selling with this set from the movies Aladdin, Snow White, Little Mermaid, Hercules, and Sleeping Beauty. And I think they're kind of cool. They're very, little kiddish looking and everything. They almost look like characters from a mobile video game or something like that. But I know that people are going to go cuckoo about these things because it's a Disney collectible, and these are all fantastic movies that Disney made. Next thing that they actually showed, let's see. I think that's actually the only thing that I have for merchandise as far as D23 is concerned. So I'll go ahead and take that off the screen. I just had other news beyond that, but that's the only thing that I had as far as, because they had a ton of other things, but those were the ones that kind of stood out to me. And I wanted to just showcase the stuff that I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. I know that you guys probably want to see other things, but if you want to know more, you could also go to Disney Park blogs. They've got everything there as far as what's going to be appearing at the show and beyond, as far as I know. So Disney cruise ships. Speaking of Disney cruise ships, they actually have shown more information about the attractions that are going to be there. And one of the things that they're going to have is the Aqua Mouse. It is they call it a water slide, but because it's on a conveyor belt and I think these kind of things go up and down, I think it's more of like a water coaster. But this picture from it shows a image of what it looks like. I don't know if this is actually from the Destiny or if this is actually from the Disney Dream, because I know that they have an Aqua Mouse on that ship as well. But I just thought it was cool, like you're going through this tunnel and all of a sudden here's all these screens of Mickey and Minnie and Chernabog in the background. I'm just kind of curious if anybody ever gets a chance to do like a ride through on that. I'd love to see it because it's very interestingly themed, and because they're just video screens, who knows, maybe they can actually change the theme depending on the time of year, but we'll see. Another thing that I thought was really cool, and again, these are just the things that I kind of picked out from the article that I saw, was that they have 2, I'll say salons. One of them is more of a salon, the other one's a barber shop, and the first one is actually called the Untangled Salon. And with the picture shown here, you can see it's themed based on the Tangled movie with Rapunzel and Flynn Rider, and you've got the sun on certain designs, and you've got the lanterns as the lamps up above on the ceiling. And I think the curtains are Rapunzel's hair, which is kind of cool, but also I'm sure up close they probably look more like actual curtains, but I think that's what they are trying to resemble there. Very, very clever, very well themed, but I don't think it's as clever as the one for the gentleman, which is called Hook's Barbery. This place looks awesome. Very vintage looking, very nostalgic, very old style. And ever since I moved to Oakland, I have started getting my hair cut at a barber again. And they are definitely more expensive, but the time that they spend and the attention to detail that they give is a lot better than just going to, say, like Supercuts or Great Clips or something like that. Whatever your local cheap haircut places where you get it, you pay $25 and it's done. This looks amazing, and I'm sure that the quality that you get is probably worth the price you pay as well. I just love, number one, Barbary is a perfect, like the Barbary Coast, and then it's a barber shop. Great play on words. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. And it would just be cool to sit in there and get your hair cut in a themed room like this to Captain Hook. I just think that's really neat. And then good on you, Disney. I think you did a great job. All right, on to other things in the news. Deadpool and Wolverine. We've talked about this over the last few episodes. And I think I did actually mention that Deadpool and Wolverine are now showing at Avengers Campus at California Adventures for a limited time only. I didn't see how long it's going to be appearing, or they are going to be appearing at that park. But they are going to be they do this show called Storytime with Poole from his book of super special stories. I have no idea what these stories are. You can use your imagination, but don't let it go that crazy, because everything that they do is family friendly. I'm not going to say what it's rated because I don't know if it's PG or PG-13. I'm sure they have to dumb it way down compared to what's in the movies that are typically rated R. So if you're going there expecting to see your usual Merc with the mouth, forget about it. It's not going to happen. He'll be smart alecky, but he'll be, family friendly smart alecky. Characters may also make an appearance, or the characters may also make an appearance in the Avengers Assemble show and the Guardians Awesome Dance-Off. If you guys have ever watched that show, I'm pretty sure they do it right in front of the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at California Adventures on the Avengers campus, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I think they even pull people in from the audience, and it's fun. It's that magic, that I keep talking about all the time, where they bring people in to make it, more personable and more real. While you are at California Adventures, do not forget to grab your Deadpool and Wolverine merchandise. They have hats and t-shirts and stuff like that, but I thought this one was cool. They actually have a chimichanga. If you guys know Deadpool, you know he loves his chimichangas. And what chimichanga wouldn't be complete without X-Men Wolverine claw marks on top, with a pool of marinara sauce as something left to the imagination. Again, be careful where your mind goes with that. But it looks delicious. I myself have never had a chimichanga, but it looks delicious. It almost looks kind of like an egg roll to me. I'm sure it's probably like a Mexican food egg roll is kind of what it looks like. I have no idea what's inside of it. I know there's a couple of people watching. If you guys are listening, help me out. Tell me what's inside of a chimichanga, because I did not look that up, and because I've never had one, I'm dying here. But for now, we will continue. Only got a couple more things to cover in the news. Actually, one more thing. And this one is actually involving a video game, a couple of video games, actually. The new Disney open world game is actually coming out at the end of this month. I forgot to actually write down all the stuff about it here, but I want to say it's actually at the end of August 28th, I believe, and it's going to be coming out on all platforms. Looks like a lot of fun. But one that I have not spoken of on this show yet is a game called Disney Speedstorm. Up here on the screen, you'll see a quick little cover of their game, and it is now available to play on your mobile device. I didn't realize this actually happened earlier this month. I think they said it happened on July 11th. Before, it was only available on the regular gaming platforms like PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. But now you can actually play it on mobile devices. And I think everything is still cross-platform. So anybody that's playing on the PC can play with somebody on Xbox, and anybody that's on Xbox can play with people that are on the mobile devices. I always think that's cool when they do that with video games, because it gives everybody an opportunity to interact without having to go out and buy a console that's like $500 just to play one game. Kevin says a chimichanga is a fried burrito. Well, there you go. That's easy. Patricia says we tried chimichangas because of Deadpool. They had beef. I need to go order me a chimichanga now. I'm not going to go down to Disneyland to get one, but I might have one the next time that I go there. But thank you guys for your feedback. I do appreciate it. And Kevin, it's good to see you. Alrighty. That is all I got for the news. The next subject, the topic of our particular show today, is actually The Lion King. We got a quick little clip here. Now, we are not going to do every single movie The Lion King has done. I'm literally just covering the original story of The Lion King, the animated film, and then which is going to be kind of inclusive of the live, we'll call it the air quotes, live action film that they did with CG animals, because the stories are very, very, very similar. There's hardly any differences between the two, at least from what I remember. Kevin is saying the DCA version has beef, poblano peppers, refried beans, cheese, guajillo sauce. Am I pronouncing that right? Guajillo sauce and pico de gallo. Pico de gallo. I looked it up. He said he looked it up. Okay. Thanks for the info, Kevin. And if you guys actually want to make a chimichanga, well, now you know. Just wrap all that stuff in a burrito or a flour tortilla and deep fry it. Put some claw marks on it. Don't forget. So anyway, back to the Lion King. We're just going to talk about the original animated movie, the 2D animated movie, as well as the live action version. I'm leaving out Lion King. I think it was 1.5 and Lion King 2. For my own reasons. I think I watched each of them once and just wasn't very much of a fan. And I don't know if it really has anything to do with what I'm going to be eventually getting into on this show, which is the trailer breakdown of the new movie coming out at the end of the year, Mufasa, the Lion King. And this is a prequel, I believe, to the original movie that is going to have a lot of the same characters from the live action version, or at least a lot of the same actors anyway. Excuse me for 1 second. And we're back. So anyway, let's get down and break down the movie itself. Now, I don't. If you guys have been living under a rock and you've never seen the movie, this is for you. If you have seen the movie before a million times like I have, and you could repeat it word for word, maybe you should skip ahead a little bit and listen to the fun facts that are coming later on. But for now, how about some movie facts? The movie The Lion King opened on June 15th, 1994. It is now another birthday, guys. Sorry, I gotta do it. Happy birthday, Lion King, to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, the Lion King. Happy birthday to you. All right. Thanks, guys, for still staying, my whole 2 listeners. June 15th, 30 years old. It is officially 30 years old now. I can't believe it's been out for that long. It made a worldwide gross of $763 million, which is the highest grossing of that particular year. And from what I understand, it is also the highest grossing of any 2D feature animation that Disney has ever done. I think it's held the record at this point. I wish Josh could be here, but unfortunately he's working the night shift. Amanda says, hello, sorry I'm late. Shame on you, Amanda. That's okay. You can just rewind and watch the rest earlier or later on. You haven't missed much, just a lot of happy birthday songs. But you can watch the recaps later. So yeah, highest grossing 2D animated feature film by Disney. It won 2 Academy Awards for Best Original Score and Best Original Song for Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And was the best-selling on home video, which sold over 55 million copies worldwide. Now, I'm not sure if that is actually... It just says home video. I'm assuming at the time, obviously, it was VHS. I don't know when they stopped counting that. Maybe when they stopped producing it. Because everything's so digital nowadays and streamable. I'm not exactly sure how that's captured, because it's got to still be making money somehow. Patricia, I would have been 10 when I saw it the first time in the theater. 1994. Wow. I'm a lot older than I thought I was sometimes. I feel a lot younger than I look, or than I actually am. And see, this is why I need co-hosts, because I need somebody to help correct me with all this stuff. And Amanda says, I'm sorry, I had another call. I will definitely catch the replay. No problem. I'm just messing around, but again, you really haven't missed much. And in case you weren't hearing, or if there's any others that are just joining now, my other co-hosts are unavailable tonight. One is sick and the other one has a work conflict. So wish them the best. They will be on again next. I think both of them should be back on next week. And we'll talk about next week's guest in just a moment, because that one's going to be a lot of fun. Back to The Lion King. It was directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. This was their featured directorial debut, the first time they've actually ever directed something together. And the cast of characters included, but not everybody in this list is in the movie. So I'm going to kind of give some of the big names. Matthew Broderick, Moira Kelly, James Earl Jones, Jeremy Irons, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Nathan Lane, and many, many, many more. Amanda says, "Oh no, thank you," or "Feel better soon." Feel better. Thanks. I'll make sure that she gets the info. Question: Who is your favorite Lion King character? The favorites come in. Oh, I'd have to say, I think Timon, because he's so confident about everything, but he's so wrong at the same time. He's like a walking contradiction, and he makes it work. I don't know how, but it was kind of a toss up between Timon and Pumbaa, and you say you knew it. Yeah. I'm not sure how you knew it, but I mean, unless it's your favorite too. But I mean, he's just a great character, and he's voiced by Nathan Lane, who is one of the most boisterous actors I've ever seen. I mean, of course, not just The Lion King. I actually just watched him in an episode of Modern Family yesterday. So, and that and The Birdcage and all the other stuff he's done. Just a fantastic actor, and couldn't have played the role better. And there's actually a fun fact about him and his co-star in just a little while. Patricia says they are both so fun. I agree. They complement each other very well. And there's a reason behind that, and that's the reason why they were cast that way. But I'll get to that when the fun facts hit later. So, for those that are living under a rock, here is the breakdown of the story. Get ready. Young Simba is born of Mufasa and Sarabi. There's a big ceremony. He's the new prince, right? All the animals attend. They put the baby up on Pride Rock, and it's the circle of life, right? That's what the big opening was. Simba and his friend Nala get into trouble visiting the elephant graveyard. It's a place where they are not supposed to go. Daddy said, off limits, don't go there. You're going to be in trouble. And there's a reason why. Parents know, right? I mean, if you guys have actually, any of you guys are parents or have parents, I'm sure that applies to everybody out there listening. You got to listen to what your parents say. They say don't do it. There's a reason. They don't have to give you the reason. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And the reason why is because the elephant graveyard, it's where all the hyenas were hanging out, and they get into trouble. And when the hyenas start attacking the cubs, that would be Simba and Nala, his best friend at the time. Daddy comes to the rescue and then teaches his son a lesson about responsibility. And then he starts telling him, like, oh, well, now everything that you see, everything the light touches will be yours someday. And this is your destiny. You're going to eventually be king. And then they kind of make up and everything's hunky-dory and okay, and the next day comes along. And this is when Scar kind of steps into the picture. And spoiler alert, I need to have like a spoiler alert audio on here. If you don't want to hear the major plot of the movie, turn off now. 3, 2, 1. Wow, I'm getting the names mixed up. Scar kills Mufasa. There's a big, huge herd of wildebeest. The hyenas herd him into this valley where Mufasa is trying to save Simba, but when he does so and he helps Simba get up the cliff, Mufasa's clawing up and Scar's at the top. Scar grabs his paws with his claws and he says, "Long live the king," lets him go, and Mufasa falls to his death in the herd. Boo-hoo, it was very sad. You will cry if you've never seen it before. But I'm sure those that are listening have. So Scar says, "Simba, this is your fault." And that breaks little Simba's heart, and he runs away based on Uncle Scar's advice. Mean guy. Simba runs off into the desert. And now Scar takes the throne, so he's now king. A couple of comments before we continue here. Timon is the best. Okay, non-favorite question. Do you find inspiration in any of the voice actors from The Lion King? Definitely Mufasa. Yes, I love Mufasa because James Earl Jones is my boy. I love his voice. He doesn't have to say things any different than his own voice to do a character. You know it's the voice of Darth Vader. You know he was in The Sandlot. You know he was in Conan the Barbarian. You know he was the voice of Mufasa, but it's just that voice that when I go low, that's what I attain to be. That's my goal. And I can never really get that deep, but hey, you know what? It's he's kind of my idol when it comes to the low tones. So, and I'm not even doing my best right now because I'm on the show and I'm happy and I'm chipper and wow. Love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kevin says if we were celebrating the 30th anniversary of a movie, the statute of limitation on spoilers is way behind us. Thank you for validating my concerns because I do appreciate that. I kind of agree. But, you know, there's people out there that might raise a fuss, and I just want to make sure that it's actually said so that way I'm not getting any harsh comments later on saying, why didn't you tell us? You spoiled it for my kid. Wah. No, that's not what I do. So that's why I give the warnings. All right, so Simba is out in the desert. He's getting picked at by vultures, and here comes our heroes, Timon and Pumbaa, the meerkat and I think he's a warthog. He is a warthog because they even say it later in the song. When he was a young warthog. That's why I love Timon, because I can actually do his voice too. And they take them away. They take Simba away, and they're like, "Hey, he might become useful as a trio of friends here." And they go to their little hideaway out in the jungle. It's got this like rainforest vibe and everything. They teach him to eat grubs instead of being a carnivore, and they teach him the fantastic phrase "hakuna matata." What a wonderful phrase. It ain't no passing craze. If you guys have heard the song, you know it. And this is where the montage kicks in of Simba growing up. And he's lived there for several years now, I'm assuming. But in the meantime, back at Pride Rock, Scar's running things with the hyenas, and everything's gone to waste. It's horrible. All the water holes have dried up. The vegetation is gone. All the animals have left because there's really nothing to eat anymore, so they have to hunt further outside. There's just no food. The kingdom is in ruins. And here comes Nala. Nala is out foraging for food, and she runs into Simba. Doesn't realize it's him at first until she pins him down like she did when she was a cub. And they have a reminiscing moment, and the Can You Feel the Love Tonight cues up, and she basically tells Simba that everything's gone to HE double hockey sticks, and Simba's like, no, I can't go back. It's not who I am anymore. He's worried about the fact that he, is responsible for killing his father. And Amanda says, slimy but satisfying, yet satisfying. Absolutely. And there's another fun fact about that one later on, too. But anyway, finishing off the movie, Nala is upset with Simba because he won't go back to Pride Rock and claim his rightful kingdom, and she leaves. And Simba is left on his own with Timon and Pumbaa, and is like, I don't need you. Go ahead, leave. And here comes Rafiki. Now, Rafiki is a baboon, and he's kind of like a wise old baboon. He's got his magic stick with the little rattle thing on the top of it, and he gives Simba a bit of a hard lesson right across the noggin. It's a really funny scene. But he claims to Simba that, I know your father. And he's like, what do you mean you know my father? You mean you knew my father? He's like, correction, I know your father. And gives him information about how he's gone, but he's not really gone. And that's when Simba has this moment of clarity with his father up in the sky, and up in the heavens he sees the stars and the clouds gather, and here comes Mufasa's voice saying, you have forgotten me, and therefore you've forgotten who you are. And he basically gets it at that point. He's like, I need to go back. Rafiki helps him make that choice, and he runs back to Pride Rock. Gonna wrap this up because I didn't realize it's already half past the hour, and I still got more stuff to give. And Simba fights Scar and the hyenas with the lionesses that are on his side as well. They win. Scar falls to his doom eventually, and Simba claims his rightful place on Pride Rock. And the movie ends with the new little baby cub, Lion King, being held up, and that is how we get to the next movies. But we won't get into those, but that, in essence, is The Lion King. I thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Story time's over. Okay. So, now that we got the movie out of the way, and we've got some background on it, I'm going to go through some fun facts, and then we're going to actually watch the trailer, and kind of get an idea of what we see in there, because there's some stuff in there that's got question marks over my head, and I kind of wanted to share it with you guys and see what you all thought as well. So the fun facts that I got here, I've got quite a few bullet points. There's probably like a good 10 or 11 here. Other titles considered for The Lion King were originally The King of Beasts, The King of the Jungle, and The King of Kalahari. I'm so glad they went with The Lion King because it's simpler. It's not as complicated or multisyllabic, if that's even a word, as all the other ones. Animators visited Hell's Gate National Park. Why anybody would want to go to a place called Hell's Gate, I don't know. But the reason that the animators went there is so they could actually kind of study the landscape and get an idea of what the backgrounds should look like and the environments that the animals would be living in. Let's see. Amanda, you got a comment here? Oh, it scrolled up. Sorry, give me 1 second here. The Lion King is a much better title. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? Something that I forgot to actually mention. There is a Broadway production of The Lion King, and it is a fantastic movie, and it's, I think, one of the longest running Disney or Broadway Disney plays out there at the moment. I know there's a couple others out there right now, but that one's been going forever. Lisa and I saw it at Las Vegas probably, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. She used to go out there for training for her union, and even though she had to be doing her training for day to day, it was like a 4-day thing. They kept us at the Flamingo, and it was like right smack dab in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard, and we could go to pretty much anywhere we wanted to by either walking or taking the monorail or a cab or something like that. And one of the shows that we ended up seeing was The Lion King, and it was phenomenal. And I even saw the Lion King show at was it Animal Kingdom. They have sort of like a circle theater where guests sit in these bleachers, and these big, huge floats come out with Lion King characters bobbing their heads and singing and stuff, and there's people dancing around and doing acrobatics. Just a phenomenal show. I never even knew it was there. I'd gone with Lisa a while back. Probably, again, about another 12 years before, but we didn't know that show was there. It may not have been there at the time, and if it was, we just decided not to actually go to it. I don't know why, because it was just very entertaining. Lots of acrobatics. There's stuff going on everywhere. All right, back to the fun facts. So the wildebeest scene, the one that I talked about where Mufasa dies, where Scar drops him into the canyon there, actually took 3 years to animate. And the reason why is because the computer graphics, the CG department, had to create a new program so animals didn't intersect or clip into each other as they're running. They had to look more natural, like running around each other or bumping into each other. And it took that long to do. And this actually kind of ties into our show from last week when we were talking to Chad Fry, because he was saying he actually helped the animators design a program to do work for one of the movies he was working on. And I thought that was fascinating. And it's just very coincidental that one of the fun facts about this movie is the fact that they had to create a program to do the wildebeest scene. Patricia says that is such an impressive scene. I agree. And when you watch the movie, you can definitely tell it's computer generated for those that kind of know what to look for. But it fits so well in with that scene, and it really created that scary feeling of, oh my God, there's no way they're going to get out of this. It was very tense, very very emotional. 3 years, that's insane. The result was fantastic. I agree, Amanda, fantastic. Kevin, Festival of the Lion King has been at Animal Kingdom since 1998. Well, then it was definitely there the first time that I went to Animal Kingdom, and thank you for providing the name of the show. I can see why it's so wonderful, because I mean they've been doing it for so long. They're experts now. They're just fantastic actors and acrobatics, and just wonderful show. The opening scene, Circle of Life, was the first time Disney made a trailer using a complete scene from the movie. I had to go back and look this up because I disagreed with it at first. And the reason I did, because I had it in my head that the Rescuers Down Under had a trailer where it showed the complete scene where Cody falls from the cliff and Marahute rescues him and they fly off down the waterfall and everything like that. I thought that was the first time that Disney had ever done it, but when I looked up the trailer for The Rescuers Down Under, it's not what I thought. It is your typical movie trailer from back then. I want to say it was like the early 90s as well, 1990 or 1991. And, it's like join Cody as he flies along with Marahute and in my best movie trailer voice. And it wasn't that entire scene. I think they may have shown that in the theater once as sort of like a teaser, but it was not an actual trailer. So this was the first time that they've actually ever shown a full scene from a movie as the trailer itself. I thought that was kind of interesting. So several other actors, and when I say actors, I'm talking about the part of Zazu. Zazu is the major domo of Mufasa. He's kind of like the one that reports on everything and keeps everybody in line, and just kind of, if you guys want to look up major domo, Google it. It's there. There were other actors that actually were considered for the role, and several people from the Monty Python cast, and even Patrick Stewart, Mr. Jean-Luc Picard himself, were considered before Rowan Atkinson was eventually chosen. Kevin, have they done a full scene as a trailer since The Lion King? That is an excellent question. I don't feel like they have, but that is just based on what my own memory recalls. But it could be skewed, because if you guys felt the same way and you've kind of got that same Disney spark inside of your soul that I do, and you watched that trailer for the first time when, the song starts up and the sun is rising and all the animals are coming, and then they all bow to the new king or the prince, they bow to Simba when Rafiki holds him up. It's like chills, instant chills. It's like, it's so powerful and it's so meaningful. It tells a story without even really saying a word except for just whatever's in the song itself. But that would be another good thing to Google. And that's another thing that I wish I had my co-host here, because usually Mimi's like, I found it. So maybe if you guys are listening and you want to find out the answer and pop it in there, feel free to do so. Add it in the comments. But on with the fun facts for now. The song Hakuna Matata was originally called He's Got It All Worked Out. And this song was kind of about Simba's choice in his new diet. It was all about eating bugs. But it was eventually replaced with Hakuna Matata. When some of the animators returned from Africa, they actually got that phrase and changed the song title, which means no worries for the rest of your days. So I'm kind of glad they did, because damn, I love that song. It's so addictive. It's almost like something that you can just get stuck in your head, but it's not quite as annoying as, say, like, Small World or something like that. Kevin says, I tried to Google it, but haven't found anything. Well, it's okay. I have faith in you, and maybe that's because I'm right and that there hasn't been another full scene in a trailer since then. Maybe they just haven't had that many good movies to be able to do that again, but yeah, don't want to tarnish the reputation of The Lion King. Ernie Sabella, who is the gentleman who played Pumbaa, and Nathan Lane. This is the fun fact that I was talking about earlier. They originally auditioned for different characters. One article I read says that Ernie was going to be auditioning for a hyena, and Nathan Lane was actually going to try to be the voice of Zazu. But then there was another article that said that they originally both applied to be hyenas. I don't know which one is true, because the internet's full of lots of crazy stuff, but either way, they were not going for the roles that they were eventually given. And eventually, when they did their audition, they showed up together, and they auditioned together as hyenas, because I think they pulled them in and said, okay, why don't you guys both be hyenas? And when they performed together, they gelled so well, they're like, nope, you guys are Timon and Pumbaa. That's it. And they were cast from there. And couldn't have done a better job of casting than both of those guys. They're such wonderful characters, and I know we were talking about it earlier, but they're just so cohesive, and they work well. One kind of intelligent, quote unquote, and another one kind of bumbling, but also a little bit more of a soul than the other. So anyway, great characters. Two of my favorite. Jim Cummings, somebody who I really, really, really wish that I could actually get on this show, because he has done the voices for so many characters. I knew he was the voice of one character in this movie, and I did not realize he actually was the voice of 3 characters in The Lion King. So, for those who don't know who Jim Cummings is, he's like the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Darkwing Duck. He's done many other characters. He played the mole in the movie when he pops up out of the ground and talks to Zazu and gives him the morning report and everything like that. He also played the voice of Ed the hyena. Ed doesn't really have any dialogue. All he ever does is he just got a crazy laugh, just like a hyena. But the one, and that's the one I didn't really know that he actually played. The one that I actually did know is the next one, which is, I didn't really realize this until I think this year, that he did the parts of the singing voice for Jeremy Irons in the song Be Prepared. So when Scar is singing Be Prepared, Jeremy Irons does sing most of the song, but apparently Jeremy Irons had issues with his vocal cords singing the song, and they needed a a voice double, I guess. And Jim Cummings was asked if he could actually finish certain parts of the song, and he stepped in and did the rest of whatever Jeremy Irons couldn't. So if you hear that song, I think near the very end, he does the Be Prepared, that part of the song. So yeah, no way, Jim can do it all, absolutely. I missed him at a convention last year. I think he might be at one in Concord this coming October. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it or not, and I don't know if he's actually still going to be there or not. I think it's too early to tell. He's supposed to be there. It's a Star Wars one, because I know Hondo Anaka is another character he does from the Star Wars universe. If you guys want to know who that is, look it up. But that is typically a Star Wars show, and he's the one that's going to be supposedly there this year because he didn't make it last year. Final fun fact before we get to the Mufasa trailer, because we're actually getting close to the end of the hour. I'm proud of myself for going almost the whole hour here, or for the whole hour. The constellation Leo can be seen in the night sky when Simba is having his son / spiritual father moment, when Mufasa is talking to him from the great beyond. So when he looks up into the sky and he's saying, "Father, don't leave me," well, up in the sky there is some stars up there, and evidently that is the constellation Leo, which is the sign of the lion, of course. So those are my fun facts. Hope you guys liked them. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to close this window here. I'm going to open this one up, and I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can watch the trailer for Mufasa. Ooh, that's scary. Say it again. Mufasa. If you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Present. Here it is. All right. Hope you guys can all see it. Let's go.
This story begins far beyond the mountains and the shadows. On the other side of the light. A lion was born without a drop of nobility in his blood. A lion who would change our lives forever. Mufasa. The earth will shake. Destiny
awaits you.
Epic. I love it. Uh, they had to include the original song in there, of course, "The Circle of Life," because that's just super awesome. Let's see. Amanda says those were great fun facts. Thank you so much. You think Josh would be proud? I hope he would. He's working the night shift. I think I might have mentioned that earlier, but that's why he couldn't be on the show. Great way to have the intro. You immediately know it's a Lion King movie. Absolutely. That is the song that you just know. Mufasa wasn't born a prince. Was that canon before this trailer? I have no idea. I thought it was kind of interesting as well that he was not born into nobility, but I remember a couple of things from the trailer itself that I see characters in there like Timon and Pumbaa were there. So it makes me wonder if they are actually going to be doing a modern day, the characters of the current Lion King, Simba as he's grown up. Maybe he's telling the story of his father, and they do it through a series of flashbacks. Is kind of what I'm thinking because of all the different characters that I saw. Even Zazu was in there. And I don't think Zazu is as old as we might think, because I don't think that bird can live that long, but I don't know. I know some birds can actually see it. Amanda says, "Ooh, I can see that." And I really truly believe that that's what's going to be happening just based on what I saw. I also saw a scene in there where there's a lion. I'm not even going to say who because I can't tell just by looking at behind a lion's head. Looking up in the sky, and you could see the silhouette of a lion outlined in stars. So that was kind of cool. Let's see. Amanda says, "I found that interesting as well. Not a drop of nobility. So then how did he become king? I have more questions." Yeah, I know. December 20th, we got to wait to get more answers from there, but it's not too far. It'll be here before we know it. Start your Christmas shopping early, people. Get those movie passes out to your friends and family so they can go see The Lion King Mufasa. Patricia asked, didn't the original Lion King pull a little from Hamlet? Yes, actually, that was one of the fun facts that I saw, but I didn't include in there. I don't know if they intentionally pulled stuff from Hamlet, but like you said, not beat for beat, but some similarities. In fact, I think they even had sort of like a nickname for the Lion King, and they kind of did a wordplay between Hamlet and the Lion King. I can't remember what it was, and I'm kind of regretting not including it in my fun facts now, because now that you brought it up, I should have had it in there. Let's see. Kevin says, I assumed you got those fun facts from Josh's book, but today at DisneyGuy.org. Yes, thank you, Kevin. If you guys want to get the fun facts from Josh, DisneyGuy.org is a place to get it. But no, I have not bought his book yet. Not much of a reader, unfortunately. I'm more of a, I'll wait for the movie kind of guy. Except for, our news stories for adventurous ideas. That kind of stuff I will definitely read. Patricia, you know what I'm talking about. And then Amanda says, or Rafiki telling the new cubs in the pack Mufasa story. That could be it too, because we did see Rafiki in there. And we even saw, I thought was a maybe possibly younger Rafiki. Because I saw one baboon that looked a little bit younger than what Rafiki looked like. Not quite as aged or hunched over, and I don't even think he had his walking stick or anything like that either. So, all good theories and a great trailer. I still kind of consider this a teaser trailer because there's not a lot of dialogue. It's just more a little bit of salt and pepper here and there to give it some flavor until the full trailer comes out. And that one itself, I think, was only about 1.5 minutes. But, full trailers, they can usually go up to about 3 minutes. So I would guess that within the next month, we will probably get another trailer giving us a little bit more details, and they'll run a few other ones here and there. Amanda, there will probably, I would guess, be a new trailer at D23. And I'm kind of curious to see what other trailers they're going to come out with at D23. I know that they do actually do stuff at those kinds of conventions, even at comic book conventions. Comic-Con in San Diego, for an example, they whenever there's a big convention like that, they do trailer premieres there, and then they release them online. Sometimes they do it the day before, but time will tell. We've only got, like 5 more days to wait, I think. Is that right? Sounds about right. But yeah, that's all we got on The Lion King. So I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys learned something from it and got some neat little new fun facts to add to your collection of knowledge. I know I did, and I always love talking about this kind of stuff because researching it is fun just as much as it is talking about it. I don't know if you guys enjoy it the same way I do, but I always love the behind the scenes stuff and oh, I didn't know that person did that, things like that. Let's go on to some closing news here. Just a reminder that our merchandise, our designs, I should say, are available on tpublic.com. All you got to do is look for Main Gate Magic, and you'll find all the designs there where you can buy t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, mugs, pillows, throws, all sorts of crazy things, hats. And I think that there is a sale coming up pretty soon. I want to say that around the 11th, there's going to be a sale. So some of the items might actually go down a bit. I'd say t-shirts are normally like about $22 depending on the size. And the price will probably go down to maybe like below 20. When I first put them up there, they were only 16. So if you guys haven't done it, take a look at the store. And if you like any of the designs, or if you have already, thank you. If you haven't, then what are you waiting for? They're cool. Buy it. Sneak peek into next show. I talked about this earlier. Our next guest is going to be Miss Terry Harden. And I have had the pleasure of meeting Terry at a couple of conventions. One of the conventions, we actually went to dinner, and I was able to sit and have Chinese food with her. So wonderful to hear stories from her. She's got so many stories to tell. If you guys want to look her up, she's on Facebook. She does these streams, I think, a couple of times a week. And she talks about all of her stuff. There's just never a dull story, never a repeated story from what I understand. She was a Disney Imagineer. She was a puppeteer. She did stunt work, for crying out loud. This woman has done it all. She worked for Disney, the Henson Company. So not just a puppeteer for Disney, she was a puppeteer for also Jim Henson. I know that she had a hand in The Dark Crystal. Other movies like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it before, the movie Spawn, the design of the clown, the creepy clown from hell, that's her. She designed that. I mean, like she designed the costume and I think made the costume. We're going to have all that information with her on the show next Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. She's going to have some fantastic stories. You guys don't want to miss it. Trust me. I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I'm going to be going to a show, maybe even last week I mentioned this, GalaxyCon in San Jose. I'm going to be doing it alone. It's not the first time I've gone to a con alone, but this one's going to be huge. There are lots of Disney characters there, lots of Star Wars characters, Star Trek characters, voice actors and live actors alike. Tate Donovan and Susan Egan from Hercules will be there, Jodie Benson and Christopher Daniel Barnes from The Little Mermaid. Each set of those people are going to have their own panels that I'm going to hopefully attend and maybe even get up and ask some questions. Chris Sarandon and Ken Page from Nightmare Before Christmas, that's Jack Skellington and, of course, Mr. Oogie Boogie himself. And all of these people I'm going to really, really, really try to approach and see if they would like to be on the show. I've never done this before at a big convention like this. I've done it at smaller ones, and people have been very receptive, but I'm not sure how it's going to be with, this big of a crowd and that many people. But keep your fingers crossed. That's actually going to be on the 17th and the 18th. If you guys are interested and you want to come with me, it's a Saturday and Sunday. I would love to have the company. So ping me on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, Making Gate Magic. You can even find me on TikTok. And of course, our YouTube channel where you can find this recorded video and past videos, all 16 other episodes, available on there. And of course, we also are going to have the show available on audio in a few moments here, if you guys really want to just listen to it only. Thanks again for everybody for joining, for keeping me company in this lonely little booth. I appreciate all your feedback and your camaraderie and your questions and your comments. It really helped the show go all the way to the end of the hour. But unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye. Aww. I know. Just hold back the tears. Just try. I'm going to try. You guys can do it too. But guess what? 7 more days. Got another one coming. Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining. Until then, take care. Stay safe. Love y'all. Bye-bye.